everybody, this is Talk About Games, and we're looking at Pokemon Go Part 2, Philadelphia. So we don't normally do Part 2s on Talk About Games, but today we felt that we had to because Pokemon Go has taken over the world. And today, it took over our day because we went to Philadelphia, and we saw the sights, we collected a bunch of Pokemon.
Well, I'll tell you why we went to Philadelphia, is because you're going to find stuff on every corner. There's Pokestops galore, and there are national landmarks like the Liberty Bell or Pat's and Gino's and the Rocky Steps and all that. And we wanted to visit those locations because we figured, oh, if we go to the stadiums, we might find something cool. And you know what we did? We went to the stadiums and we actually found Pikachu. And I've been looking for Pikachu for a week. Haven't seen him anywhere. We go to the stadiums. He was there. Yes!
Yeah!
Yes! Fuck yes! Pikachu! They want you to go to cool places and they want you to experience the world, really.
Is that a Pokeball?
That's a baseball.
Oh.
Baseball.
Wait, this thing doesn't have anything to do with Pokemon?
No.
Oh. Well, why are we here then? Let's go somewhere else.
Like, going into the city totally ups the ante. You're seeing a wide variety of Pokemon. You're seeing Pokemon more frequently. There's Pokestops on every corner. It totally changes the way that games are played. I would say the average level of a gym Pokemon in the suburbs where we're located might be in the 700 or 800s. Mm-hmm. We were seeing gym Pokemon 2,000, 1,500.
So it wasn't very good for us to go to the city as far as winning gym battles, but if we wanted to collect Pokeballs, there's a stop on literally every corner to do that, and I think that the game is very sort of uneven, and that might be a little unfair. I think there's a huge advantage to people that live in a city, or maybe college kids that are in a city, compared to somebody who lives in the suburbs.
One of the places that we really highlighted was we were over at Pat's and Gino's Steaks. You know, Philadelphia's known for cheesesteaks and the cheesesteak culture. Just when you're standing at Pat's, there's 3 Pokestops, and then Gino's is the gym.
Right.
So just on that corner alone, if you had lures set up there, if you had anything set up there, if you got a table at one of the other local areas where they have tables, you could easily just catch Pokemon all day.
Yeah, we were walking around Pat's and Gino's, and I wasn't able to catch Muck, but Muck for our area was more of a rare guy. He was right around that area.
Charmander.
Actually, we caught Charmander.
Yeah.
Like I said, when we were at the stadium, we were able to catch Pikachu. We caught a whole bunch of Squirtles. Squirtles were more rare to see.
At the stadium, I caught Bulbasaur and Squirtle. What I thought was interesting is there's a lot of Pokespots inside Citizens Bank Park. There wasn't a Phillies game going on at the time, so we couldn't go in there. It would be cool to go back and go to the Link, go to Xfinity Live.
When the actual shows are going on.
Yeah, go to Citizens Bank and Wells Fargo Center and see all the Pokespots in there.
With the Rocky statue, there was a lot of like rat-a-tats in the area, which was kind of funny. We ran up the steps. We were able to catch, I think I caught a Pinsir up there. I think I caught Starmie and some other things.
I think out of all the current issues, getting the white ring and having the game kick you out, issues with login server, the biggest issue for me is you found this Pokemon that is rare. You've hunted it down, you've finally gotten it, and you catch it, and the ball goes on it, and then the game crashes. That bug, that needs to be a recoverable situation. That's the number one thing, because I don't know, so many times I find like Lapras or Gyarados or something really good.
Then the game locks up and you go back to it and they're gone.
And they're gone.
Yeah.
And you don't get to get them. We're dealing with all of these server issues, but we're still having a fun time.
Yeah.
And the core of what makes Pokemon Go great is not really the mechanics of the game, but the fact that it brings friends together and gets them to go to places. You know, I've lived in this city for a long, long time. I never had a Lorenzo's Pizza. I walk by it all the time. Mm-hmm. The fact that I was able to have a Lorenzo's Pizza, the fact that I was able to go to the Liberty Bell. I've gone to the Liberty Bell maybe 2-3 times in my life.
I think what you're trying to say is that this game, even though it may not have all the great dynamics of the older games. What it does have is this social aspect to it, which, as I said in our previous video, I think is great. It harkens back to like the arcade era, and it's great to be able to meet people and to be walking down the street. And you know, there were several times today when we were in Philadelphia where somebody would come up to us and they'd be like, "Hey, you're playing Pokemon Go? That's great. You guys shooting a video about it?"
And the thing that I thought was so cool is you're seeing, you know, like coffee shops in the city put like Pokeballs on their like chalkboard signs outside, and you're seeing all of these things. Like, I haven't seen this much positive attention towards video games than like the NES era. You know, most games, the hardcore element comes in and they find out what is mathematically best and all of those things very early on. In this game, there was a lot of that schoolyard exchange of information.
Yeah.
Oh, you gotta tap it fast and you'll attack faster, and things like
I feel like they didn't give a lot of information away. I know that there's like a Pokemon Go like Twitter page and stuff like that, so if you want to find the information, it's out there. But when you first download the app, it's kind of like, here it is, figure it out. And they don't tell you a lot, but that's kind of cool, because then I can go to you, or I can go to somebody on the street playing the game. Oh, what do you do here? Oh, really? There's Ultra Balls, and there's all there's all this other stuff that I didn't know about. I want to ask you how you feel about the eggs, because I feel like right now, it's almost more like it's better just to go around to Pokestops, collect eggs, and then just do some walking or some slow driving around and let your eggs hatch, because then you might, once in a while, I know a lot of times you'll hatch like a 10-kilometer egg and you'll get a fucking Rattata or something, but the eggs do tend to give you the Pokemon that you want, and that's kind of like, well, then what's the point of the game? What's the point of going out into the forest or going out into the city and going to Pat's and Gino's or going to the Rocky Museum or going wherever if you can just wait for the egg to hatch and it's like, oh, I got it anyway out of an egg?
I think the eggs are great. The issue is that if you're not willing to spend money, you get one at a time. So you're gonna walk like 100 kilometers.
Well, what do you mean spend money? Because you can't buy eggs.
You buy incubators.
That's the thing in the game that almost really forces you, unless you want to spend the rest of your life playing the game, it really kind of forces you to buy some of those incubators, because you want those fucking eggs to go, because you're looking for those rare Pokemon. And, you know, a lot of times when the eggs hatch, maybe you'll only get like a pincer or something, nothing that crazy, but it's usually a high level pincer, which is good to level up. So they really make it like you really want to be, you know, getting those eggs and having them hatch, but you have to buy the incubators, and I think that's where they're making their money.
I think that they're making their money on the bag upgrades, the Pokemon upgrade, how many you can store Pokemon upgrades, and the incubators. I think that a lot of the other things, from the incense to the lures to the Pokeballs, aren't the best investment, because like incense, you usually end up with like subpar Pokemon. There are outliers, but by and large, maybe catching a lot of, you know, Caterpies and, you know, Pidgeys and things like that. And I think the lures, it's the same way. In this is a game that rewards walking. So why do I want to put something in one spot? The only time it's good is if you're like at a restaurant or something.
I've walked more in the last week than I have in the last month, and I think that that's something that is great about the game. Even people who don't like Pokemon Go, everybody seems to agree on that fact, in that it's getting people exercise, and that's fantastic. I mean, I know Nintendo had tried to do that a lot of times with like the Power Pad or with like the Wii Fit and things like that, but Pokemon Go actually seems to be working. Ingress
was the game before Pokemon Go, and basically the idea was that there were two factions, that there's like a virtual world and these virtual resources laying on top of the world, and there's these two factions fighting to take them over. And I can't wait till Pokemon Go does their first city event, where you're trying to take over a city. Because they just had it this weekend, and they've had many before, where it was a Ingress event in Tokyo, where all the people went to Tokyo, and then they had to take over spots in Tokyo, take over territory, and then whichever team won got some kind of bonus. So wouldn't it be cool, you know, when they come to Philadelphia, for instance, it's Pokemon Go, and whichever one captures the most gyms or catches the most Pokemon gets some type of bonus.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
That would be really cool.
Once you get to around, level 19, 20, I feel like the game needs to have something more. I know the trading's coming.
I don't want it to be like this global marketplace that has all the stuff. I think you should have to be standing next to the person.
Right.
Inside their circle to trade with them.
If a person isn't within like 50 feet, then you can't do it.
You can't trade with them. I think that would be really excellent. The thing that ruined the social communities of games like World of Warcraft was when you didn't have to walk to the dungeon anymore. You didn't have to engage your fellow man to find a group. A computer did it for you. And I don't want Pokemon Go to suffer from that because I always want it to be about proximity. I need to be in the same environment with you, and then the stuff happens. The minute there's like the worldwide Pokemon trading desk, it's just going to be the few top tier people.
Yeah, and then it's going to ruin it.
It's going to ruin it because everybody's going to have everything.
I would hope they're smart enough not to do that. And, we're talking about, the social aspect being the thing that's making this game great. I think that with the gym battles, it's really a thing where if you don't make friends, you're not going to get very far in this game. You can in the beginning, but as the game goes on, once you really start fighting gym battles, because I'm up to level 20 now, and now I can really start fighting some of the tougher gyms. I can't really do it on my own, though. I'm going to need another person on my own team. And if I don't have any friends, I'm not going to get very far because I'm not going to be able to really take over that gym. So that's forcing people to make friends, get together with other people, and really have a, camaraderie, which is something that the video game industry in general has been lacking so much, especially in person.
I was really happy that the actual Rocky statue at the bottom of the steps was a gym.
Yeah, that's perfect. It has to be. It has to be a gym. Like, if it was a Pokestop, that wouldn't make any sense. It's a gym.
It's a gym.
Hey, Rocky, you gotta go to the gym, Hey.
Right.
There's a bar called John's, but it was the birthplace of Larry Fine from the Three Stooges. We caught some Pokemon there, which is pretty funny to think that the same place Larry Fine was born, people are now catching Pokemon there. There seems to be a division in the Pokemon community. People who are sort of loyal to the old games, and then there are people who, are playing the new game. I feel that way a lot of times with the Zelda games. I want my Zelda games to be
Link to the Past.
Like Link to the Past, that kind of thing. And then they come out with like Hyrule Warriors or something, or Tingle's like Rupee Land Adventure or whatever. I don't want any of that shit. I want like a classic Zelda game. And I feel like people that really love the Pokemon games, the classic ones, they might not want to play Pokemon Go because I think they say, oh, well, now everybody's playing it. You walk down the street and literally every fucking person is playing Pokemon Go. So I think it's taking away that from like the people who were fans since they were a kid. But that's interesting to me because you were a fan when you were a kid. So how do you feel about that? Because I know you like Pokemon Go.
I played Gold and Silver. I played Red and Blue. I played some of the Game Boy Advance and DS ones more casually as time went on. But, Pokemon Go, I feel like it brought it back to the core. It's the original Pokemon. It's very casual. We're not all worried about, breeding the best in tournament play and all of that. And I thought it was refreshing. Yeah. And that's what I liked about it, because it was way lower pressure, way more casual, and it was a fun thing that people could do together.
Again, I really enjoy the game. Good stuff.
This is good old Mike Schmidt. Love Mike Schmidt. Mike Matei. Mike Schmidt. What else do you need to know? Oh, I got an egg. I'm putting it in the incubator.
Oh, shit.
Thank you, Mike Schmidt.
You're a hero.
You're a hero, Mike Schmidt.
A true hero.
I don't know who Mike Schmidt is.
You don't?